we're going to go into a little bit more advanced topics. Today we're going to talk about Node.js, and we're going to talk about deployment to Hiroko. Everything we've done so far, like that, we used that framework P5.js. We learned some of the basics of JavaScript. All that is considered, client-side JavaScript, or JavaScript that runs in the browser. What is Node.js? Node.js is a JavaScript framework for running JavaScript that runs on your server. So it's a backend code. And using Node.js, you can do a lot of different things. Today we're going to use Node.js as a web server. You can also use Node.js as for your APIs to connect to your database. There's just a whole lot more functionality that you can do with Node.js, and this is all for server-side JavaScript. So we're gonna start today. So the first thing we have to do, we have to initialize the Node project. So right now we have our repository set up with all our code from the we didn't work on this last time, but the time before that, and now we have to set up a Node repository. So how do we do that? We do npm init, and then we follow steps.
Can you please share your?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, let me do that. Alright, so we're going to initialize the Node repository. So we did npm init, and the first thing it's asking, okay, what do you want to name your package? So we'll do the same name as the Git repository, processing examples. Yep, version 1.2. A game using P5.js called
What's your screen is very small.
Oh, okay. Let me increase that.
Window.
There we go. Can you read it now?
That's a little better.
Yeah.
That's a little better.
Yeah, there we go. So, yeah.
And you could make it whole, actually.
Okay. I can do that.
Thanks.
Alright.
So,
yeah. So we did npm init, and now we're following the prompts to define our node our package. Okay, our entry point is index.js, alright? And then, everything else we can do that. Alright, so now we have created our package.json. So you can see it created, we have our name, version, description, everything defined here. Right? And then what we have to do is we have to install Express. So Express is the it's like a Node package that will act as our web server. Oh, and I see one issue. We need to change our main file to sketch.js. Not we've named it sketch, right? Yeah, sketch.js. So I'll make that change there. Okay. So yeah, next thing we're going to do is we're going to install Express. So let me bring that up. One second. Okay. npm install Express. So what that will do is that it will install all the dependencies, all the files that we need for the Express web server. Okay, so that has been installed now. So we'll look here. We'll see that this folder got created, and its name is node modules, and that has all the dependencies that we need. All right, now we have to do one more thing, or a couple more things, but we have to create a new file called app.js. All right, and this is where we're gonna use Express and define our web server. So yeah, we're gonna create the Express app. So first we'll define some variables. So const is like a constant variable. So we defined Express, and we pulled the Express library, the dependencies. Okay, and then we defined another variable called app that is using Express, and then we're gonna say that we want to use Express as our web server, our middleware. We're saying, okay, we want Express to serve all of our static content. And our static content is in this public folder, right? All of our sketch.js, index.html, all those files. And then we're gonna put a route. So this is the it's saying like the base route. When you hit the base URL or DNS, it'll go to which files, or what's it gonna do. So then we say, okay, create a function. Hello world. So when will this be used? If it can't load until it can load our static files, it will just return whatever hello world. So that's just saying like, okay, what is our base functionality? And then now we'll start the server. So it's going to say listen, app.listen, and it's going to say listen to a specific port. And we're going to say if something has been defined in the environment variables, use that. Otherwise, use port 3000. And then we'll also so once it starts, this is our callback function. It'll say, okay, once it starts, we want to just display in the console that our server is running. Okay. All right. And yeah, now we have defined our app.js file. And let's test it out. So we'll do node. And yeah, there we go. It says our server is running. And then now if we go to localhost 3000, we have deployed our game. And then you can see it works exactly what we had last time. Alright. So now we deployed the game basically locally to our local device, our computer, but we want to deploy it to the internet. So how do we do that? For that purpose, we're going to use Hiroko. I think it's a little blurry. All right. So yeah. So what is Hiroko? Hiroko basically allows you to containerize your applications and deploy them to like the Heroku cloud, and it has its own like way of containerization, and it calls those containers like Dino, right? What Hiroko requires is that first you link Hiroko to your GitHub repository, and then you also have to create a file called like proc file that tells it, okay, how do you run your code? So we'll do that. Okay. So we have to create a new file called proc file. Okay. We'll do that. Alright, so this is the file that tells Heroku, okay, this is how I want you to run my code. We have to do, okay, we want a web that's saying, okay, we want a web type of, container or type of dyno, and then the kind of startup command is node app.js. So exactly the way that we did, we ran it locally. We're telling, okay, Heroku, run this in the cloud. All right. So we did web node app.js. So now all of our code is there. So then we go to Heroku. So we have our repository here, right? It's called lots of our processing examples. Then we go to Heroku, and then we go here and we create a new app. Alright, we created a new app, and then we connect it to GitHub, and then we say, okay, processing examples. Alright, we connected it to our repository, and then we say, okay, what branch do we want to deploy? We have all our code in master right now, so we'll say, okay, enable automatic deploy, and then for the first time we'll do the manual deployment, and we say deploy branch. And yeah, it is building and deploying. And then now it gives us a link to view this. And now you can see, before we were able to access the game or the code only on our local machine. But now we've deployed it to the cloud, and Heroku has given us a link that anyone can access, right? So yeah, it's just really, really amazing, right? Now we have like a application, we have some software that anyone in the world can access and use. And that's what deployment is all about, making sure that your code, your system can reach out into the world through the internet. All right, good. So yeah, that was the kind of the topic for this, and now we're going to start a new project for the remainder of the course. So one of the like popular frameworks right now for development, for full stack development, is called the MERN stack. So what does MERN mean? So MERN, M is for MongoDB, and that is going to be our database layer. It's a NoSQL database layer, and it's like basically a JSON key store. And then Express is what we just used, right? It's like a web server, or it's called a middleware. And then the R is for React, and the N is for Node.js. So Node is going to be our backend layer, which we use like APIs, different things like that. and then R, React is going to be our JavaScript framework to create our UI. And then yeah, E Express and M MongoDB. So yeah, let's set that up from scratch. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new repository. All right. And I'm going to create our repository. I'm going to add a git ignore. I'm going to add a readme, and I'm going to say, yeah, well, I guess just our basic git ignore. All right. So there we go. I created a repository. So what we're going to do is create a basic polling application. So okay, yeah. First thing we'll do is we're going to clone our repository. So the way we clone it is we use the command git clone, and then we put the link. I'm using SSH. So there we go. Now the repository that we created in GitHub, now I can use it locally. So we'll do that here. Okay. There we go. So you know, we've created our the base for our polling application. So yeah, let me explain a little bit about what we're going to do. So I think even in our group we've used polling, right? I created a poll and asked for, okay, what times do you think would be best for our class? So we're going to create that type of application using one of the latest whatever tech stacks, the MERN stack. And like I've explained, and so we'll have like 3 different components to it, right? One component will be where you can design and create your poll. We'll make it very simple, like so you'll have basically radio buttons, right? You'll have a certain you'll have like one prompt for the question, and then you'll have whatever a couple of prompts for what are your choices for the question. So we're going to, so we have that one screen to design the application or design the poll, and then we have one screen, we'll have one screen to design the poll, one screen to list all the polls that are available. Then we'll have one screen to actually fill out the poll, and then we'll have another screen to like view the results of a poll. So we're going to create this, this small React application, and yeah. So let's focus on, let's start with the kind of initializing the application, right? So we have to do it the same way. So we just created our our repository, right? We see it only has one file, and we'll do the same thing, npm init. Alright, package name, MERN poll version 1.00, a polling application. Yeah, we'll make our entry point index.js. There we go. Now we have our package.json initialize. You can see here, this is our initial npm application. Then we'll do the same thing, npm install express to install, yeah, so we have express there too. And yeah, let's copy over what we did for that processing examples. Yeah, we'll just save this. Alright, we saved it here. We'll also create a new folder called public. And we'll create a new file called index.js. And then yeah, we'll also bring over our HTML. Let's do that. So yeah, we won't need any of the framework, P5 framework this time. And we'll call our application polling application. And we have right. So just initializing our basic application. Poll away. Alright. Okay. Alright, so now we have our basic code set up. And let's say making sure it's in the right place. Alright, save that. Alright, so there we go. We have our basic framework set up. And then we'll do the same thing. Alright, let's see. There we go. So we have our initial page here. It just says polling application and poll away, right? So then we'll commit that. Okay, let's see all the files that we've changed. Yep, that looks good. We'll do git add to add all these files, then commit. Okay. Alright, cool. So yeah, let's do a little bit of application design when we're starting our process, right? So we'll create a Google drawing. So yeah, we have our Google drawing here, and let's create some text boxes. So our first functionality is to, we want to be able to design a poll. Right. And then our second functionality is we want to be able to view all the view a poll, right? So design a poll, then we're going to be able to view a poll. And then we want to be able to view poll results. Yep. And okay. Oh, hello. Yeah, we have one more person to join. So we finished the deployment part of our application, and now we are starting a new application, new project from scratch. We're gonna use the MERN stack to design a polling application. So we're kind of doing the initial design of it. So I'm putting our basic functionalities, design a poll, view a poll, and view poll results. And then we can, in the later stages, we can also add more functionality so that we can, do the same thing, but for multiple. So we have multiple polls, and we can view multiple polls, and yeah, so let me add that too. Maybe we can say this is phase 2. Alright, so in phase 2 we'll be able to maybe edit a poll, view multiple polls, or we'll be able to select from a list, and then we'll be able to and view poll results. So we'll be able to select like from a list, and then decide, okay, which poll do we want to do? View a poll as in fill out a poll. So let me do that. This is phase 1, and this is phase 2. Okay, so design a poll, fill out a poll, and view poll results. These are all examples of functionality. So let's take this first functionality of design a poll, all right? And I'll put it here. Okay. So what are all the software components that we need to do for this functionality? Okay, so first what we're going to need is we'll need a UI, right? So we'll add that. UI screen to using React. Okay. So first thing we'll do is we'll create like a UI screen to design a poll. And then basically what we'll give them the option to is give them, or we can add that right here. What are the components that we'll need to do? Poll title, then we'll need a Like so poll title will be the question we're trying to ask. So we can say poll question, and then the question will have multiple options. So we'll do poll options. So on the UI screen will be we will have like a text box that they'll be able to edit while they'll put the poll question, and then we'll have a sort of list that will populate where they can put the option or the options that they want. So we'll create like an example here, right? So our poll question is, what is your favorite food? And then we can put some options. Pizza, pani puri, pasta, pav bhaji, tacos, right? So they'll have, the poll will have all these different options. So this is what our first UI screen will kind of look like. All right, so so that is our that part of our application is our UI screen, which we're going to design using React, and we'll also. So like one of the main benefits of React is that you can create a single page application. So everything can happen within just like one screen. And the way we have everything happen in one screen is we have routes. So once they click to a certain thing, it goes to a different route and it goes to a different part of the application. So we have to design this poll and also create a route for it. So we'll add that. Okay, so then the next part, this React UI will communicate with another thing. And what will it communicate? It will communicate with our Node backend. So let me add that. Okay, I'll add that here too. So that is our React UI. Then now we're going to add our Node backend, our Node APIs. Okay. And then we're going to, what is the API functionality that we need for this? So the UI will generate this screen. It'll look like this, but how are we going to save that? So we're going to save that in some JSON format, and let's put a example of that too. Okay. So in our JSON format structure, we'll have something that's like this. It'll say question, or we'll do prompt. We'll add that. What is your favorite food? Alright, I don't have much space. What is your favorite food? And then we'll do options, and this will be like an array. So our prompt will be a string, options will be an array, and this can be it'll be an array of strings. So we'll have pizza, library, pav bhaji, tacos. All right. So this is our JSON format. So what will our Node API do? the UI will take this, this UI representation, and it'll send this JSON format to our Node API. So we'll say, or we'll call it design. We'll call the endpoint, API endpoint called pull/design, right? And then this will save that JSON structure that we just defined into MongoDB. Save to full table, right? And so, okay, what will we define? Let me do one more thing there, and this will be our table structure. So how are we going to do our table structure? We're going to have two keys, two fields in our table structure. For this is the poll table. Our primary key will be a unique identifier, so UUID, and then what we're gonna save, we're gonna save this JSON structure into the table. So we'll do primary key is that, and then we can do we can create a field called poll structure. And that's our JSON string. Alright. Let's split it out. So we won't save the JSON string like that. We'll create a field for prompt, which is string, and we'll create a field for options, which is an array of strings. Okay. So we'll define our MongoDB table like this. So yeah, that's our initial design. So first thing we'll do, we'll go from the React UI screen. Then once this has been designed, so we'll have like a save button. Let's add that too. So the application flow is they'll create this prompt, they'll do this, and then we can also have another button for let's say add option. So yeah, this add option button, what it means is that initially maybe we'll only define like 3 blank spots for poll options, but the add option button will say, okay, add one more whatever spot for an option. So yeah, that's going to be our initial UI screen. So let me define that. So UI. So that's our UI screen. That is, and this is the basically the request body for API, and this is going to be our MongoDB table schema. So yeah, now we've designed everything for this first part of our application, which is like design a poll, right? And then we can think about, okay, so what will fill out a poll be? All right, so okay, let's like, how do we add more pages? All right, let me just create a new one. We'll do that. Let's copy all this over. All right. Move this over here. So yeah, we have two users, right? The first user is going to be doing this functionality, which is designing a poll. So the poll creator, and this is like the audience, are the people who will fill out the poll, right? So let's do that again. How do we send it back? All right, there we go. Yeah. So UI screen to fill out a poll. Yeah, and we'll add a route. Maybe the first one would be, the route for this might be design. And then this one will be fill, right? And then maybe we can add something like the way it'll know, you know, which or which one are you trying to fill out. We'll add something ID. We'll add a parameter in our route that is like the UUID of the poll we're trying to fill out. And we'll do save response. Okay. We can bring this up here. And yeah, we'll create like a poll response table. So yeah, what is our UI screen gonna look like? Let's copy this whole. So these will be like radio buttons. Let's see, can we add that? So this is what our UI screen is going to look like. It'll say the prompt, what is your favorite food application, or whatever favorite food, and then there'll be radio buttons for pizza, panipuri, pasta, pav bhaji, tacos, and then you'll be able to submit it. And then what are we going to what are we going to send to our API? Let's do that too. We'll say our poll ID, or it'll be ID, and that'll be the that'll be our unique identifier for the poll. It'll be something like yeah, right, something like that. Whatever our unique identifier is, and then it'll say it'll also have timestamp. And that'll also be like a timestamp and like a number representing the current like millisecond that they submit their response. And then we'll also do so ID and then timestamp and then selected option or response. And for us it'll be pizza, right? So this will be the kind of format that we're going to save. All right. So then that is the request for the API, and then we'll do the same thing for our MongoDB schema. Yeah. And then so we're going to create this table, and it's going to be the poll response table. So will be the our primary key will be UUID, and then we'll save the poll ID as another UID, and then we'll save the response, and we'll save the timestamp. Alright, so yeah, so we designed our first two screens and we'll work on that next time. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining.